Hi, everybody. I'm Marie Mays. I am the interim director of the Center for Entrepreneurship. I am joined by my colleagues, Donna, who is our administrative assistant, and Savannah, who is our program coordinator, to talk a little bit about the business plan competition. So our WSU Business Plan Competition is a multi-stage business plan competition that is presented by the Center for Entrepreneurship. This is our 23rd year hosting the competition, and I have been involved with the competition for many of those years. I may be the interim director this year, but I was the director of the Center for Entrepreneurship for about 12 years prior to that. So this year we have $50,000 in prize money, $50,250 in prize money, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in terms of that may be one of the reasons you choose to get involved, but there are also some other really great reasons to get involved in the business plan competition. So why participate in the business plan competition? I would say the first and most important reason is this is a fantastic experiential learning opportunity for you to learn by doing. And I would say all the students I've worked with over the years, a few of them have gone on to the second thing, to launch a venture, but most of them have gone on to work in existing industries or companies right out of undergrad. But the work that they did in the business plan competition made them advance in their careers more quickly. So it gave them skills they didn't have before. So if you're an engineering student, you put a little business acumen on top of that, it really helps to accelerate your career because you've got better presentation skills. You've been practicing pitching over and over again to prepare for the competition. And if you're a business student and you work with students in other majors, it helps you learn to speak those other languages, right? To speak a little engineering, to learn a little bit about science. And those are skills that our industry partners really value. The other thing I will say is it just gives you something to talk about, something to put on your resume and something to talk about. And it's really important to be able to have experiences when they ask you STAR-like interview questions. So situation, task, action, result. If you aren't in situations, if you aren't putting yourself in situations, you're not going to have anything to talk about in those interviews. And the business plan competition is full of situations that lend itself to having a great interview. So you might have challenges with your team. So tell me about a time you had a challenge with your team, or tell me about a time when you had to take initiative, right? The business plan competition gives you lots of opportunities to take initiative to move your idea forward. And so those are really the two big reasons why students participate, is primarily to learn by doing, to launch a new venture. If you're interested in actually launching a company, we can help you post business plan competition to move that forward as well. So lots of opportunity. And then there is the $50,000 in prize money. The top prize this year is $10,000. So grand prize is $10,000. Second place is $8,000. The Entrepreneurship Advisory Board third place prize is $7,000. $4,000 for fourth place and $2,000 for fifth place. Those are all of the collegiate prizes, which the WSU students would be eligible for. We have an open collegiate league, which is sponsored by Foster Garvey, and those are students at Whitworth, Gonzaga, typically for the regional universities. They all compete for that single $5,000 prize. We have a high school league, which is really fun to have our high school students involved. They have prizes as well. And then college students are also eligible for merit prizes. So you don't have to be in the top 5 to win one of the merit prizes. So those are best technology venture, best social impact venture, and then there's a prize for the best trade show as well. Students will participate in a trade show, the top 20 teams. So students often ask me about how many students participate. So this gives you a little idea. Last year, we had 50 WSU teams comprised of 113 students. And the typical team size, students often ask me, well, how big are teams? Ranges from 1. We've had teams be successful with 1 student, although I will say it's a lot of work. It's really challenging if you're going to do this as a solo entrepreneur. But we have had students be successful doing that, all the way up to 7. The challenge there, though, is typical teams are about 2 to 4. Once you get past 4, only the 4 students can present in the Zoom round and in the final presentation. So I would say somewhere between 2 and 4 is sort of the sweet spot for a team size. We also have had 64 high school teams participate, and then 32 open league teams. Last year, we extended our open league all the way across the country. So we had some students from MIT and Stanford and Johns Hopkins and Vanderbilt. This year, it'll just be regional universities. Okay, so if you're interested in forming a team or joining a team, be sure, again, that you're building out a team so you have a diverse set of skills, just like if you were launching an actual company. So it'll be really important to be thinking about, if you're a business student, do you need someone with technology skills on your team? Do you need someone who can do programming or can build you a wireframe or can help you develop a Figma model of your app mock-up? So again, think about proactively recruiting students to participate on your team who both align with your vision, but also who bring a diverse set of skills to your team. So registration is open now. So you'll have to go, you can go to the WSU BPC website. There's a register now button. You just click on that button. It takes you to a Submittable site. Submittable is our partner for all of our registration and upload. We have a WSU alum who is the CEO of Submittable, and they have kindly donated the use of that software to us. So we always are grateful to Submittable for that. One of the rules in terms of registering is one member of your team must be an undergraduate enrolled this semester. You can have other students on the team, you can have graduate students on the team, but you must have one undergraduate on the team to be in the WSU League. If you have graduate students who are interested, they can participate in the Open League if they do not have a undergraduate on the team. So just so you know about that. Okay, so the first round of the competition, so I mentioned it's a multi-round competition, is that you submit a one-page executive summary, and that is due Friday, March 27th. The one-page summary goes into the Submittable platform, the same platform that you will have registered in, and then those will be judged that following week by judges. So you'll have 3 judges, they'll review it, it'll pull up the Submittable portal, pulls up the summary and then the rubric. So be sure that you review the rubric. So the rubrics are on the website. And make sure, the tips I would say, have a heading for every rubric category. I tell students this too, make it easy for the judges to give you a good grade. Make it so they can clearly see that you have covered that category and that you've even answered the question in the rubric. They'll be reading the rubric and giving you a score. So they'll score you for 0 to 5 points on each of those categories, and then we'll sum those totals, and then you'll have the average of your 3 judges for your score there. There are samples of one-page executive summaries on our website. If you click on the Resources tab on the Collegiate League page, there are a bunch of example one-page executive summaries you can look at, I think, which is really helpful to see those samples. And do we make, so the 3 judges and the top 20 teams with the highest scores will advance to the next round. So question, maybe I'll wait, see if there's any, does anybody have any questions real quick on the screening round rubric? Screening round, what you submit, it's a one-page summary, follows the rubric exactly. We're all good there? Okay. All right, you can save them to the end if you want, or you can raise your hand in the Zoom meeting. Okay, so here's the rubric.
Hey, Marie, I was on mute still, but Hazel had a question.
Okay, great. Hazel, go ahead.
When can we start submitting the executive summary?
When can you submit it? You can submit it anytime after you read. Well, hold on, they're going to correct me. So you'll register first, and then the deadline to submit the one-page summary is the 27th. Savannah, help me out on this. Do they have to wait till registration closes before they can submit their summary?
Or can yes, so that we can finalize to make sure that you're in the right group and you have the right resources.
So between March 13th and March 27th is the time when you'll submit those. And there is an event schedule also on the website, and I would print that. Honestly, I have it posted, stuck up on my bulletin board in my office. It's really helpful just to track those deadlines. If I were a student, I'd actually take the deadlines and I'd stick them in my calendar as well, just so that you don't miss those deadlines. Because it is a competition for money, we do not accept any late submissions for any of the rounds. All right, so here's the screening round rubric. Just as I mentioned, these are posted online. You can see that for each of the categories, there's questions. So what I would do is I would develop the one-page summary. I would make sure that you answer the questions, and I'd have someone read it who hasn't put it together, right? Some external party review it, a faculty member, a mentor, and have them score it and see if it answers the questions. That's a good way to make sure that you're covering all the information that's required. I find when you're the person writing the summary or you're the person involved with the venture, sometimes you forget what you know, right? You're maybe not as explicit about telling the judges the things they need to know. The one note on this I get quite a few questions about is funding amount required and sources. And so, and then also revenue model. For this one-page summary, there isn't room to have full financial statements. So you just need probably a little chart at the bottom that has revenue, expenses, and net. Okay. So this one, actually, I think this says executive summary rubric, but you do not need 5 years of pro forma financial statements for the one-page summary. I think we copied and pasted this may be the full 4 to 7 page rubric because it says full 5 years of pro forma financial statements. You don't need those for the one-page summary, just a short revenue, expenses, and net. I'll make sure and adjust that. Okay, so the round 2. So if you're in the top 20, we'll let you know. The announcement of those advancing teams is Monday, April 6th. And we have a team info night that following Tuesday that we'll make sure we have a Zoom option for as well for teams on the different campuses. So then you do a 4 to 7 page executive summary and you submit a pitch deck. The 4 to 7 page summary, often I encourage students to write that first even because it's easier to condense than it is to grow a one-pager. Because you can put all of your information down and then condense it to the one-pager, and then you can go back and revise the 4 to 7 after that. That seems to be an easier flow for students as they're working on this. So what we'll do is we'll seed the top 20 teams into 5 leagues. So the top 5 teams of the 20 will each go in their own league. And then we just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the teams are seeded exactly by score into those leagues. And then judges will review the executive summary March 30th through April 4th. Again, same through the submittable platform. They will not score your pitch deck in advance. It's just information only. So lots of times students ask me, can you update your pitch deck before you present on Zoom? And the answer is yes. So they will only score your presentation when you do it in real time on Zoom. For this round, you are required as an appendix to the 4 to 7, so it's not included in the 4 to 7, you are required to have full financial statements. So 5 years of pro forma financial statements, so income statement, statement of cash flow, and a balance sheet for 5 years. They don't have to be accurate. Like you won't get disqualified if they're inaccurate, but you will if you don't submit them. So if you don't submit financial statements, you are not allowed to advance to the final round to win prize money. We call this the Carol Ann Sears rule. Carol Ann Sears was one of our National Board of Advisors members who had felt really passionate about students trying to do financial statements and working on it. There was real value in the exercise of creating those, okay? Again, you might lose a few points on your rubric if they're not perfectly accurate, but we're not going to know. They're going to ask you lots of good questions about the assumptions behind your financial statements and things like that. But the most important thing is that you submit them, that you have them as part of the appendix of your 4 to 7 page. The Zoom presentations are Friday, April 24th, and they're in the morning. Here is our schedule. So it's each team has 30 minutes. So you get 5 minutes. So team 1 gets let into the Zoom room from the waiting room at 8:45. They get 5 minutes to set up, which should go pretty quickly because you're just on Zoom, right? To get your slides up. And then once you're ready, you can start. You get 15 minutes to present. And then that's a hard 15 minutes. So they will shut you down. They'll hold up a sign, say stop, right? There's a monitor and a coordinator in each Zoom room. And there is tech support as well. And then you'll have 10 minutes for the judges to ask you Q&A. And then after that time is up, then you'll be excused from the Zoom room and the next team will be let in. Just so you know, especially if you're far and you're in this, we always start at the 8:45 and the 9:15 and the 10 and the 10:30. We'll never start early. So you don't have to worry if a team before you finishes a little early, judges just get time to do their scoring. We're not going to change it. So those are actually the time. You'll want to log in just a little bit early so they let you into the Zoom room right at that time. But those times are always firm. So that won't change, not to worry about that. And we'll tell you when we release the leagues, we'll tell you exactly which team you are, if you're team 1, 2, 3, 4, and what time you would be expected to present. And on the Pullman campus, if students have a class conflict, I've often written them a note of excuse to say that they're participating in this. Could they be excused for, the 30 minutes necessary to do this? So I'll leave that up to you, Jenny and Mark, how you want to handle that if students need a excuse from a different class to participate in this. And then there's about 4 to 5 judges in each of the Zoom rooms. Those are externals from all over the country, which is exciting. This is one of the reasons we kept the Zoom round, was that it enabled more of our alumni and our external supporters from all over the country to participate, that they couldn't necessarily come to Pullman and be a judge. So your total score is the sum of the average score for the written plan and the average score for the presentation. So we average the judges' scores, and then we add those two together. So the way that you move on to the final is you're the highest score for both the written and the presentation together. So that's how we do that. And then we will announce, this is good. This is good for me to check this. This is the full written plan rubric, because it says here the required components, including are required, are the full financial statements.
And Manny had a question.
I just have
Okay.
a quick question. If we do not qualify to the next round after the final Zoom presentation, will we get our scores back to know what we lacked?
You will not get the numeric score, but you do get feedback at each of the rounds. So both after the screening round and after the Zoom round, you will get the written feedback on your plan. So that is usually really helpful for students.
And we don't say if anymore.
Yeah.
When you move forward.
There we go.
There you go. So the presentation rubric is very similar to the other. The categories are the same. Obviously, it has some language around what you say. But I will say the one thing I will draw your attention to on this is that for the merit prizes, when you're presenting on Zoom, if you think you qualify for the best technology venture or the best social impact venture, make sure you ask for that award. Say at the end, I would definitely do it at the end. Judges are right about to score you. Say, please consider us for the best technology venture. Kind of here's why we think we're that. And then judges get the opportunity to award you a vote for that if they think you fall in that category. So that's how we do that. So that's an important thing to note on that. Okay, and then finally, the winner of each league advances to the final round Thursday, April 30th. This is open to the public in the Cub Junior Ballroom. The teams are scored by 4 to 5 judges, and you do carry forward your scores from round 2. So those scores could be weighted, right? So they're not as necessarily as heavily weighted as the final, but they do carry forward. Those scores do carry forward. And then the rubrics are the same. So this is just one in-person 15-minute presentation, 10 minutes for Q&A, and you also get 5 minutes to set up. The schedule is roughly the same as it is for the Zoom, but you do it in person in the Cub Junior Ballroom. And then after this is all completed, the WSU presentations are 1:45 to 5 on that day. Then we have a trade show, which is really fun. In the Cub Senior Ballroom, we have a trade show, and all of the 20 teams participate in the trade show. And then we have a trade show prize for the best trade show. And our National Board of Advisors will be in Pullman. This is the last year we're doing this together, but they'll all be here for the National Board of Advisors meeting. And so many of them stay for the Business Plan Competition Awards dinner, and they'll come walk through the trade show, and they get to vote for the best trade show team. And it's really a fun time to see all of the top 20 teams. And then we have a awards dinner with a great keynote speaker. And the students who win the top 5, especially the top couple of prizes, will get big checks, which is fun. They get to, hoist up their big check and be in photos winning their prize money. So that's the general gist of the flow for the events. I'll stop sharing and see if you have any additional questions.
Hazel's writing furiously over here.
It's a lot. I know. I can share it, Mark. I will send you the slide deck as well. So you have that for them.
Great. And Manny was in last year.
Great.
Yeah.
Jenny, do you have questions for me?
I don't. I noticed that V hopped on, so I know she is probably taking notes too. No, I don't think I do have notes. This was really thorough. Thank you.
Okay. Well, if you do have questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I know Mark has in the past. You can reach out to any one of us, to myself or Savannah or Lerdana. And we have done this together as a team for a long time. So we've experienced most of the questions and are happy to answer them and help students move forward. If there are questions about their actual submission, I can provide guidance, or if they are looking for a mentor. I had a student stop by the other day, was looking for a mentor. Some things like, or subject matter experts. Sometimes they don't want a full mentor, but they're a little stuck on some area and they need somebody to help give them a little expertise on something. We can also do some connections there. All righty. Well, go Cougs all over the state, and we'll see you soon. Let me know if you have any questions.